What's up, guys? Thanks so much for taking the time to watch today's video. We're going to talk about cameras that will make great gifts this holiday season. But before we get into that, make sure you hit the subscribe button down on the bottom. That'll get you notifications anytime we post new content. We're going to start posting more stuff like this throughout the year, so definitely stay tuned for that. Alright, so before we get started today, real quick, we're going to kind of offer you some different brand options throughout the video, also several different budget options, so there should be something in here for everybody. So make sure you stick around for it. It's definitely just some good info for anyone who's from an amateur all the way up to a professional. Alright, so first we're going to cover the Nikon D3500 and D5600. Both of these bodies are going to be considered Nikon's entry-level bodies. They don't have a focus motor in the body, so you're going to be pretty limited as to the number of lenses you can use with it. The lens you use has to have a focusing motor in it. Otherwise, you have to focus manually. And for someone who's an entry-level photographer, that might not come very easily. So that's probably the biggest drawback to these. The biggest pro, I think, is price. You're going to be looking at $400-ish for a package with at least one lens, maybe two, especially around the holidays. I will be including links in the description to each one of the cameras that I talk about, so you can get a better idea of pricing that way as well. Alright, so next I want to talk about the Canon T6 and T7 and the T6i and T7i. All four of these bodies kind of run in the same family. The T7 is just a little bit newer. You're not going to have the same lens limitations like you would with the Nikon. Any Canon EF or EFS lenses are going to work with this body. Also, if you're looking to getting into vlogging at all, this one's a great option because it actually has a flip out screen. So you're going to be able to flip it out from the body and turn it around so you can see what you're looking at if you're working on a tripod. Alright, so next I want to talk about the Sony A6000 series. The A6000 series is a great entry-level, budget-minded mirrorless camera. They go all the way up to the 6600, but I'm primarily going to focus on the 6000 today. The great thing about the Sony cameras is that you can use any E-mount lens on a Sony E-mount camera. When you're looking at the A6000, it might seem a little bit more like a point and shoot. However, it packs a lot of power in that tiny little package. Also, this is going to be another great vlogging or video camera. It actually outputs in full 1080p HD, so it's a great option for someone who's looking to getting into any type of vlogging. Moving on to another mirrorless camera, the Panasonic GH7. Another great option if you're looking for a camera that's not only great with photography, but also great for vlogging, for YouTube, etc. Not only is this going to be a great option for photography, it's going to be a great option for vlogging or videography as well. It's got that flip out screen where you can turn it around if you're working on a tripod. Or for instance, if you are into any type of videography and you're working with a gimbal, you're going to be able to flip that screen out, and so you're going to be able to see it a little bit easier. Alright, so moving on, the next two are going to be a little bit higher price range. These are going to be for your photographers that are a little bit more established, maybe someone who is wanting to get into more serious video. Probably should have gone over the difference between a mirrorless and a mirrored SLR. A mirrored SLR, traditional DSLR camera, your mirror is going to reflect the image your lens sees up through the physical viewfinder. A mirrorless uses the digital sensor to transmit that signal. So you're not going to have a mirror to... So one of the benefits of a mirrorless camera is that when you change your settings, for instance, shutter speed, your aperture, etc., you're going to see a physical change on the screen. Whereas with a mirrored SLR, it does take a lot more skill, a lot more work to make sure that your image is going to look like you want it to look. Now that's not to say that a mirrored SLR is better than a mirrorless. I really love my mirrorless SLR cameras. I won't go back to a mirrored SLR just because of the form factor. It's easier, it's smaller on a mirrorless than a full-size DSLR camera. Alright, so now on to the cameras. The first one's going to be the Canon EOS RP, which is one of Canon's mirrorless SLRs. This is not going to be a starter camera. This is going to be for someone who really wants to take that next step in their photography, or even their video. Alright, so it's actually going to give you images in up to 26.2 megapixels and 4K video, and its low light capability is pretty impressive too. Alright, so last but not least, the camera I'm shooting on today is the Sony A7iii. Again, this is not going to be really budget conscious, but it is definitely for someone who wants to take their photography or videography to the next level. So one thing that the A7 III does better than any camera that I've used is its low light capability is astounding. You are going to be able to crank up that ISO and be able to get an image that does not have a ton of grain in it, unlike a lot of other SLRs on the market. Now I know some of that was kind of techno-babbly, but basically what I'm saying is I love the Sony A7 III, but all of the cameras on this list are going to be awesome options for someone who is either just getting into photography or wants to take that next step in their photography. All right, well, hey, thanks for watching the video today. Definitely make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you can get notifications anytime we post new content. We got a lot of weddings coming up, plus we've got some other exciting stuff we're working on for this year, so stick around.